Hi everyone, I'm Sarah with the Hobby Lobby Creative Studio. Today, I'll teach you the basics of needlepoint and show you how to make this cute and easy keychain. Stick around! Needlepoint is often stitched onto plastic canvas using yarn. It consists of diagonal stitches that are always slanted in the same direction. You can make short and/or long stitches using different colors of yarn to create a pattern. So today I'm going to be using a super simple pattern to make our double-sided keychain. So here's the game plan. First, we're going to stitch onto our entire plastic canvas shape, which looks like this whenever we first start. And then we're going to slip on a split ring and add a whip stitch to all of our edges. So here's what you'll need to get started. A sheet of 7-count plastic canvas. You can download the pattern to see how to cut your piece of canvas so that it has 10 by 14 holes on each side with a 4 by 9 hole bridge between them. Yarn in the colors of pale peach, pale green, red, turquoise, and lavender. A size 16 tapestry needle which has a blunt tip, a needle threader, a pair of scissors, and a large split ring. Let's take a look at our pattern. It shows the colors of yarn we need to use and where to put our stitches. Here's what our pattern looks like on top of our plastic canvas. You can see that each square on our pattern represents one intersection, the point where the plastic canvas crosses itself. So, whenever you are counting squares to find a particular spot, you should be counting intersections. Once you arrive at the intersection you need for the pattern, you'll use the holes that surround it to make a stitch. Some of the stitches on the pattern are short and go across one intersection of the plastic canvas only, but some are longer and stretch farther. By using a combination of these stitches, we can cover more area faster and create some cool shapes and looks. So with our pattern in hand, let's get started. Cut about an 18-inch piece of yarn and thread it through your needle using a needle threader. We'll start stitching at the top of our piece of plastic canvas by bringing the needle up from the back at the second hole down from the top left corner. As you pull the yarn through, hold a ½ inch or so of the tail temporarily with your fingers here on the back side. Put the needle back down in the second hole from the edge on the top row, crossing the intersection. Now we'll come back up with the needle in the next hole over and go across to the third hole on the top row, again crossing the next intersection. Make sure you are securing the tail with your stitches as you go. Okay, that's the first 2 green stitches at the top of our pattern. Continue following the pattern and stitch 2 green stitches on the next row right below your first 2. So instead of starting at the beginning of the next row of intersections on the left side here, we can just come right here below our last green stitch, then make our second stitch over to the left. Now start your third row of green stitches from the same side. Refer to your pattern and complete the entire green section of stitches. When you've completed the green section, flip your work over to the back side. Now run your needle under a few stitches on the back of the canvas to secure the yarn. Snip the yarn down close to the stitch. Now you're ready to start the red section of the pattern. To start the red section, bring the needle up in the 6th hole down from the top left corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So in this first empty hole here, as you pull the yarn through, remember to hold a small piece of yarn temporarily on the back like you did before. Now carry the needle across the intersection to make the first red stitch. Now, instead of making another stitch right next to it, bring the yarn up in the 7th hole down from the top left corner below your first red stitch. You're going to cross 2 intersections this time instead of 1, and put the needle back down in the hole next to where you completed your last stitch. This stitch is twice the length of your first stitch. Following our pattern, now we'll come up in the 8th hole down from the corner. Now we're crossing 3 intersections and completing our stitch next to our previous 2. Now come up through the second hole over and insert the needle into one hole directly below where you completed your last stitch, crossing 2 intersections. We'll finish the square by coming up through the 3rd hole over from the edge, crossing 1 intersection to complete the stitch. Continue on now to the other red sections of the pattern. Continue following your pattern and changing yarn colors until the first half of your canvas is complete. Then move on to the second half and then the bridge. After you finish stitching the entire body of your canvas, now it's time to start adding a whip stitch to your edges using the purple yarn. This will provide a nice finished look to your edges by hiding the rest of that plastic canvas. First, we're going to whip stitch the bridge part of our keychain. Flip the keychain over to the back side. Now secure the yarn by running the needle under a few of these stitches close to the end of the bridge. Flip the keychain back over to the front side. Now come up from the bottom side through the first hole of the bridge. Use your finger to push the yarn over the edge to the back side and come up again into the next hole over. Again, use your finger to push the yarn back over the edge, then come up again through the next hole over. When you finish stitching one side of the bridge, carry your yarn across to the other side by running the needle under a couple of stitches on your way over. Now you can begin to whip stitch up the other side. When you complete this side, run your needle under a few stitches on the back side to secure the yarn, and snip the yarn down near the stitch as shown earlier. Now we're going to slip our split ring onto the bridge before stitching the rest of our keychain together. So to get the ring onto the bridge, all you need to do is bend one of the sides so that it curls enough to be able to slide the ring right on. Just like that. Simple. So now we're ready for our last step. To whip stitch the rest of our keychain together, start by flipping it over to the back side to secure the purple yarn. Run the needle under a few stitches near the corner here where the bridge begins. Now, holding the wrong sides together, bring the needle up through the first empty hole over from the bridge, making sure your needle is traveling through both layers of plastic canvas. Use your finger to push the yarn back over the edge, then come up from the back again through the next hole over. When you get to the corner hole, you have 2 edges to cover. So begin by coming up once through the corner and using your finger to guide the yarn over the first edge, then rotate the keychain and bring the needle up a second time through that corner hole, this time guiding the yarn over the other edge. Continue to stitch around the rest of the keychain, remembering to travel through both layers of plastic canvas with each stitch, and to make 2 stitches in each corner as shown before. When you are finished whip stitching around the entire edge, secure the yarn by running the needle through a few stitches near the bottom of the bridge here on the back side. Snip the yarn down as close as possible to the stitch. And there you have it! A lovely new keychain all for yourself, or make several and gift them to all your friends. So there are lots of different options for needlepoint projects once you know the basics of working with plastic canvas. For example, we made these adorable needlepoint houses by stitching onto basic square shapes first, and then joined them all together to complete the house. You can go as simple or as intricate as you want. Well, that's all for today, everyone. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.